The gold-plated gates of Buckingham Palace have never felt more like a cage than they do right now, as a chilling wind of exclusion blows through the corridors of power. Something inside those ancient stone walls has shifted, violently, permanently, and for the first time, we aren't just talking about tabloid fodder or harmless whispers over tea. The air is thick with the scent of a cold, calculated purge, and the target is none other than Camilla's own flesh and blood. Reports are exploding across the inner circles, suggesting that Camilla's son has been systematically pushed out, scrubbed from the royal orbit after Princess Anne reportedly dropped a truth bomb so unsettling, so deeply radioactive that the fallout is threatening to melt the very foundations of the monarchy. This isn't just a tough time, it's a bloodless coup of influence. Why did Princess Anne, the Steely Princess herself, feel the need to intervene behind closed doors? Was it a desperate act of protection for a dying institution, or are we witnessing the first cracks in a massive internal fracture that could bring the whole house down? Everyone is asking the same terrifying question. What did Anne uncover that was so dark it demanded the immediate, quiet erasure of a man who once walked these halls without question? The silence from palace officials isn't just professional, it's suspicious. A heavy, suffocating blanket thrown over a fire that is still burning underneath. Look at the patterns, because the patterns never lie. One day he was there, a fixture in the periphery of royal life, and the next he's a ghost. His presence has vanished from royal-linked events with a speed that screams banishment, leaving a trail of unanswered questions that the palace refuses to acknowledge. It's as if his access was snipped like a stray thread, quietly restricted without a single word of explanation to the public. We are watching a man being unpersoned in real time, and at the center of this storm stands Princess Anne. Her reputation for brutal loyalty to the crown and a no-nonsense approach to tradition makes her the ultimate executioner of royal standards. Was she acting out of a sense of duty, or is this a more severe, perhaps even personal, power play meant to signal that the old guard still holds the keys to the kingdom? The tension is building, a low-frequency hum that you can feel in every no comment and every empty chair at official functions. This isn't just about one man, it's about the very soul of the monarchy and who gets to whisper in the ear of the king. If Camilla's son was pushed out, what triggered such a firm, almost clinical reaction? Why does Anne's name keep surfacing like a warning flare every time this exclusion is mentioned? Could this be a simple misunderstanding? Not a chance. Not when the stakes are this high and the movements are this calculated. Something deeper is reshaping royal access from within, a silent realignment that favors the bloodline over the newcomers. Princess Anne's intervention wasn't a suggestion, it was a seismic event. She didn't go to the press, she went to the heart of the institution, delivering what insiders call a duty-driven warning about a vulnerability so disturbing it couldn't be ignored. Imagine the scene. The most hard-working royal, the one who lives and breathes the protocol, standing in a private room and exposing a breach of trust that made senior figures' blood run cold. The atmosphere has shifted from routine management to a paranoid scrutiny of loyalty and control. Every hallway conversation is now a test. Every proximity to power is a potential risk. Is this the beginning of the end for the influence Camilla's side of the family hoped to wield? The palace hierarchy is reassessing everything, tightening the boundaries and ensuring that the inner circle remains a fortress. We are seeing a hardening of the lines, a return to a more cautious, perhaps even isolationist, approach to who is allowed within the royal environment. The fact that there is no official clarification only deepens the rot of uncertainty. It allows the imagination to run wild with the possibilities of what that disturbing revelation actually was. Was it a matter of financial overreach, a breach of confidential information, or something even more personal that threatened the dignity of the crown itself? Whatever it was, the reaction was swift, silent, and final. The plot thickens as we descend into the hidden lines of this royal tragedy, where the exclusion of Camilla's son has transformed from a mere personnel shift into a full-blown crisis of proximity and power. This isn't just about bad behavior, it is about the very boundaries of the throne being redrawn in real time by a faction that views outsider influence as a lethal contagion. Inside the palace, the air is thick with a brand of unease that doesn't come from public scandals, but from the terrifying realization that the inner circle is no longer a safe space. Senior members of the institution are reportedly looking at every interaction through a lens of extreme caution, treating even the smallest shift in access as an explosive risk to the monarchy's survival. The ambiguity is the point. By keeping the truth shrouded in official silence, the palace is signaling that the era of open doors is officially over. We are witnessing a deliberate tightening of the grip, a recalibration of who is allowed to breathe the same air as the sovereign. And the message is clear. Being family adjacent does not make you untouchable. The fault lines inside the palace are widening into canyons, pitting the old-school traditionalists against the desperate modernizers in a war for the monarchy's future. Princess Anne stands like a stone sentinel at the head of the traditionalist guard, her unwavering, disciplined stance serving as a silent rebuke to anyone who would dare blur the lines of royal hierarchy. Her involvement has turned this into a battle of ideals: duty versus adaptability, tradition versus the new guard. The sensitivity surrounding Camilla's own place in the family only adds fuel to this fire, as every move made against her son is interpreted as a subtle, sharp-edged warning to her entire side of the family. It's a historical echo of the monarchy's deepest fears: the outsider who gets too close, the influence that can't be controlled, and the stability that can be shattered by a single breach of trust. The silence from the palace isn't just a lack of words, it's a weapon, making the exclusion of Camilla's son feel like a calculated strike rather than an administrative hiccup. Watch the whispers beneath the crown, because the real story is being told in the things they don't say and the places they aren't standing. Have you noticed the seating charts? The joint appearances that have suddenly become cold, formal, and drained of all warmth? The royal family is masters of the controlled distance, and they are using every tool in the protocol shed to build a wall around the institution. Media observers are catching the signals: the reduced visibility, the strategic scheduling, the way certain names have simply stopped appearing on the guest list. It's a symbolic alignment with Princess Anne's iron-fisted stance, a quiet consensus forming among the senior royals that some bridges are better left burned. This is how power works in the House of Windsor, not with a shout, but with a series of deliberate, icy absences that tell the world exactly who has been cast out into the cold. As we move into this phase of controlled palace fallout, the strategy has shifted from reaction to total perception management. The palace is working overtime to frame these disappearances as routine adjustments or scheduling conflicts, but the public isn't buying the corporate spin. Behind those closed doors, every statement is being weighed for its ability to suppress the truth, while the visibility of key players is being surgically reduced to prevent further scrutiny. What is really being protected here? Is it the dignity of the king, or is it a deeper, more shadow-filled restructuring of power that we aren't supposed to see? Who benefits when Camilla's son is erased from the narrative? The redrawn royal lines are becoming permanent, creating a new map of influence where trust is the most expensive currency and betrayal is met with total silence. This story is far from over. It is a living, breathing transformation of the monarchy, and as the boundaries tighten, we have to wonder who will be the next to find themselves on the wrong side of the palace gates. Was Princess Anne's revelation the final nail in the coffin for a certain kind of royal access? The lingering tension suggests that the true explosion is still to come, hidden just out of reach in the silent shadows of the crown.